What's up, everyone? Zack Snyder's Justice League technically marks the 10th movie in the DCEU, so today I'm going to sit down and rank them. Real quick, this isn't a definitive list, this is just my list, my personal ranking of the movies, so make sure you share your list down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And this video will have spoilers for all of the movies, but the Snyder Cut, I'm not going to be spoiling that one. So anyways, let's get into the ranking. So at number 10 for me, and by far the worst of the DCEU movies, is going to be Suicide Squad. This is really the only movie I have a hard time getting through. Every time I watch it, I'm just bored out of my mind, just waiting for it to end. It's way too long. The story is so bland. And it's just, this movie's supposed to be fun. It's like summer blockbuster that was supposed to be a lot of fun. And it's just not anywhere near as fun as it should be. This movie is boring where it should be entertaining. The main villain, Enchantress, she's a terrible villain. I don't know why they chose to do this weird like witch villain for a Suicide Squad movie. They should be fighting some like crime boss or something. The dialogue is rough. The character interactions aren't good. This movie is just filled with issues, but the biggest one is it's just boring. I don't enjoy watching it. And another note is there's just way too many songs in here, that develop characters. While character development's happening, they're just playing a song. It's just like, you don't never remember how many songs that are in there until you watch it. Then you're like, oh my gosh, like every other scene has a song in it. And the only thing I do like about this movie is I like the cast and the characters. I actually liked Will Smith as Deadshot. But other than that, this movie's just an absolute pile of crap. So at number 9 for me is going to be Justice League from 2017. Obviously, these two are always going to be the bottom two for pretty much everyone. And really, for me, this is the only other terrible of the DCEU movies. I have issues with a lot of them, but these two are the only ones that are just absolute crap. The rest of them are at least serviceable. But obviously, this one sucks. We just got the Snyder Cut, which just makes this movie even worse. This movie is choppy. The scenes don't feel like coherent. All the characters are underdeveloped. The movie just feels like it flows from scene to scene. No scene actually feels like it builds up the next scene. And having watched the Snyder Cut, you can kind of understand why, because so much was cut out. The CGI in this movie is actually pretty rough, especially with some of the reshoots. It just doesn't look good. There's almost no payoff in this movie. Just nothing feels earned. Just things happen and you just don't care at all what's happening. And overall, I just really don't like this movie. And really at times it doesn't actually feel like a movie, but feels more like a collage of different scenes. Because it's not a movie. It's just like a thrown together like piece of crap. And of course, time, as we've gotten more details about it, time has made it worse and worse. Especially now that we have Zack Snyder's version. But overall, 2017 Justice League comes at number 9, and I just don't like it at all. So at number 8 for me is going to be Wonder Woman 1984. This one's pretty frustrating for me because I actually really wanted to like it heading into it. It was like the first big release I had seen in a while in 2020 when it came out on HBO Max. So I was really excited for it. I was really hoping it was going to be good. I love the first Wonder Woman. But the bottom line is, with this movie, the plot sucked. It was this weird like monkey paw thing. And for me, it didn't work, especially with a Wonder Woman movie. Also, I thought Cheetah didn't look great. Unfortunately, I was really excited for Cheetah to be in this movie, and I just thought the costume looked rough. And I thought overall, this movie just felt very familiar. It used a lot of superhero cliches, and it just didn't feel original. It didn't feel like it was really trying to like hit that next level with the Wonder Woman franchise. It just added nothing new to the table. And there was just a lot going on in this movie. It was overly long, and there was just an abundance of issues. Even like Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is so great as Wonder Woman, I just didn't really care about her in this one. Just overall, this movie just felt bland, and I didn't really care about it. But there is some kind of payoff scenes, I guess. Like Wonder Woman riding the lightning is pretty cool. The final act is pretty nice, and I like the 1980s aesthetic. I think that looks pretty nice as well. But it's kind of a mixed movie for me. So at number 7 for me is going to be another frustrating one in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. I do enjoy a lot about this movie. I think Zack Snyder does a good job at building tension between Batman and Superman, especially that opening scene where we have Batman's view of the ending of Man of Steel. I think that's an amazing scene, one of the best in the DCEU. Another one of the best scenes in the DCEU is the warehouse scene, where Batman's just beating up a whole bunch of guys. Just really awesome scene, and just like fan service for Batman fans, and I just love every second of it. And really all the fights are pretty cool in this movie. I've always been a defender of the end fight with Doomsday. It does feel tacked on, but I do enjoy it. But overall, there's just way too many plot lines in this movie. It's 2.5 hours, 3 hours with the Ultimate Edition, and it just goes on way too long. The plot there, and the main reason being there's so many plot lines. Like there's this plot line where Lois Lane's overseas, and that just feels so unnecessary, and you really can't keep up with all of them. This movie's exhausting to watch because there's just so much going on. Also, I've never particularly liked the fight between Batman v Superman. While the fight itself is cool, it just doesn't feel like it works. Everything kind of lines up perfectly, and it doesn't feel like it should be that way. It was kind of like Zack Snyder was just kind of skipping aspects of it, and all of a sudden we just got the fight. And I never liked that Superman was basically forced to fight Batman. I would have preferred him having some reason to not like Batman aside from a few like random political things, especially with the Martha stuff at the end. I've never liked that. So Batman v Superman comes in at number 7. And number 6 is going to be Birds of Prey, and the way too long title. So from here on out, I would give all these movies positive scores. I do like all these movies. I have separate issues with them, but I do enjoy the movie for the most part. Birds of Prey is very entertaining. It was some really good choreographed action scenes with Harley Quinn, especially the one where she's like in the police station, and the ending fight. And it's really a Harley Quinn movie. The Birds of Prey are in there, but it's really more of a Harley Quinn movie. And she's really the lead, and it's following her, and the Birds of Prey are kind of come along in the end and team up. But I think that's all right. Margot Robbie is really good as Harley Quinn in this movie, and this really solidifies her as Harley Quinn, that this is going to work out because clearly she's good in the role, and obviously she's the star of the show here. And this movie's just really funny. It's like entertaining as hell. It's just a good time. I have no major complaints with this movie, but overall, I just feel this movie's very safe. It doesn't really try for anything here, nothing crazy in any areas. It's just they go for this kind of safe, small movie. It works, but it's nothing more than that. So that's why it's at number 6, not higher. But it's still a good movie. Just for me, it doesn't aim to be great. It just wants to be good. It wants to be a successful DCEU movie, and I thought it was. So at number 5 is going to be Man of Steel, the first movie in DCEU. This movie's always been an interesting one for me. I think it's a really good take on Superman from Zack Snyder. You know, kind of this more realistic take on Superman. How would the world act if Superman showed up? Kind of show more of the human perspective. The action and performances are great. And there's also a lot of emotion in this movie. And I've always loved the ending fight with Zod, and he like snaps Zod's neck. I think that looks awesome. The fight looks awesome, and I just think the fight's just really cool. I also love the beginning on Krypton with Russell Crowe. I think that's a really good scene. I've always liked Russell Crowe's kind of short performance in the movie. But overall, this movie has never blown me away aside from Hans Zimmer's score, which is really, really good. There's just nothing I'm crazy about, and I watch it and I'm like, oh, that was pretty good. And then that's it. There's just nothing I really care about in this movie. And that's really unfortunate. I know a lot of people love this movie. But for me, it's just good. It's not great. For whatever reason, I can just never get on board with this movie. I like it. I don't love it. I can definitely see the potential and the talent involved. But it comes in at number 5. Alright, so at number 4 for me is going to be Aquaman, directed by James Wan. To be honest, I love this movie. Jason Momoa is amazing as Aquaman. I also love Patrick Wilson and Willem Dafoe was 2 of my favorite actors. They're in here and they have fun performances. James Wan directs some really cool action scenes in this movie, like the one on the rooftops where Jason Momoa is like running. That just looked really good with these long takes, and then the one where like Nicole Kidman's fighting all these people in the house at the beginning. Once again, another like long take scene that just looks really good. I've always liked the plot of this movie as kind of Aquaman really becoming king of the ocean. It has this like sense of adventure as they go like searching around the world for different things. And everything feels earned in this movie. You're rooting for Aquaman the whole way. And it's just a really well-constructed movie in my opinion. Unfortunately, this movie's plot is kind of derivative of Black Panther. Personally, I've always thought this movie did that plot better, but Black Panther did come out first, so that definitely is a knock on this movie. And I think the dialogue is also cheesy at times, so that's kind of unfortunate. But other than that, I love this movie. So heading into the top 3 now, it's going to be Shazam here at number 3. This is pretty much a tie with Aquaman for me. I always go back and forth between these two. It really just depends on how I watch them and what kind of mood I am in when I watch them. But today Shazam gets a nod at number 3. I love Zachary Levi as Shazam. He's just really good at pulling off this adult playing a kid. This kid who's now a superhero. He's just really good at playing that role. It's kind of this like big with superheroes. I just think this movie works. Everything it goes for works for me. The jokes are really funny. It's probably the funniest of all the DCEU movies. It just, everything lands. It's such a good movie. There's also a lot of heart and emotion in here, and some really good messages, which also help this movie along. It feels like a really good superhero drama kind of movie with lots of kid elements. All the characters in here are very likable, and overall, it's a really well constructed movie and just a very fun superhero movie. However, my only 2 complaints with it are similar to Birds of Prey. I think it's very safe. I think DCEU was aware that they'd been making a lot of bad movies. So I think they went really safe for a little while, and we got Birds of Prey and Shazam as a result. I don't hate it. I don't hate that. It's frustrating because it makes them almost forgettable at times. And this movie's like oddly dark at times. It's directed by the guy who did like one of the Annabelles, and you can tell it's just like some really weird scenes that are just way too dark for the tone of this movie. But once again, other than that, I really enjoy Shazam. Just a really fun superhero movie. Alright, now heading into the top 2, it's going to be Wonder Woman, coming up just short of number 1. Usually my number 1, but now is no longer my number 1. But I still absolutely love this movie. Gal Gadot is great as Wonder Woman, and her and Chris Pine really steal the show in this movie. Their chemistry is just absolutely amazing. I say this a lot, but the action in this movie is really good. Especially the scene where Wonder Woman's running through no man's land in World War I. Just really well made action scenes, and they look really good as well. I've always loved the mythology behind Wonder Woman and how it kind of explores that a lot in this movie, and kind of Wonder Woman realizing who she is a really good origin for Wonder Woman. And I love all this like origin Greek mythology tie-ins and stuff. I think that's really cool. I always love movies kind of about humanity and like potential and, having faith in people and maybe not having faith in people. And this movie shows a lot of that, like, maybe not everybody is good. Wonder Woman thinks all humans have to be good, and if there are bad humans, someone has to be making them bad. It explores that a lot, and I love stuff like that. I've always been partial to stuff like that. It just shows like the great things people can do, but also the worst things people can do. And I love that like kind of arc. My only knocks on this movie are I thought the villain was always forgettable. I think Hades it is. I've never particularly liked him. And I have some issues with the World War I historical elements. Other than that, that's not a big issue. I still love this movie. Alright, so now at number 1 is going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League, the new version of it that we just got a few weeks ago. After thinking about it, I just couldn't possibly put this any lower on the list. It's just really a perfect Justice League movie and almost a perfect superhero movie. All the heroes in this movie are great. Batman, Cyborg, Superman, Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. I might be forgetting someone, but they're all great, and they all come together just to make this successful team. And the character development in like the first hour and a half of the movie just adds so much to it. Especially with the backstories behind Flash and Cyborg. It just has some really good scenes in there, and I just love it. And I especially love the end with all the fan service. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it, but it's just Zack Snyder is so good at that, and the ending is just non-stop entertainment, and I absolutely love the final hour of this movie. It's really amazing. And all the changes from the 2017 version to this one are just perfect. Everything is better in this movie. And it's really a shame what they did to Zack Snyder's version of this movie, and that we didn't get this movie back in 2017. Who knows what the DCEU would have looked like by now if we had gotten this movie. It definitely would have been shaped differently. But for me, there is just so much to love about this movie. It's just really a perfect team superhero movie for me, and I feel it's absolutely deserving of the number 1 spot. Zack Snyder is just so good at making this epic fan service type stuff, and this movie's no exception. It's really just a near perfect superhero movie in my opinion. Alright, so that will do it for my ranking of all 10 DCEU movies. Make sure you leave your rankings down below in the comments. Once again, my ranking is not the right ranking, it's just my ranking. So make sure you leave your rankings down below so we can compare them. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day.